Today we're installing the Amp Research power steps with built-in LEDs on this Ram 2500. I'll show you how they look, show you how they work, and we'll see if it's a good option for you. The first thing we're going to get installed is the brackets. Starting on the back passenger side, luckily this truck already had running boards, so it already has the threads for the mounting plates. I'll grab the plate, attach that first, and then we'll install the bracket. For the rear passenger mounting plate, we'll put 2 screws through the right side hole and the middle hole. On the driver's side, you'll use the left side hole and the middle hole. Then we'll take 2 screws through the front of the pinch weld. Tighten these up to 6 foot-pounds and then tighten these up to 16 foot-pounds. You can now lift up the passenger side non-motorized bracket, install a screw on the bottom left, top right, and on the bottom right. For the front passenger mounting plate, we need to use a spacer. Taking one of the pop rivets in the kit, we'll install it on the left side while sitting on the bench, and then on the other side, we're going to use a pop rivet that will attach the plate to the truck. We have to attach the left rivet on the bench because you won't be able to drill a hole in the truck on the left side when installing the mounting plate. There's a bracket under the truck that gets in the way. You'll use a 3/16 rivet gun, and now we're ready to install it in the truck. Lining this up under the front passenger side, you can see where the pop rivet is right there. We're going to put the other pop rivet right there. But first, I'm going to use the other screws to line everything up. We can also go ahead and thread the screws in that go into the pinch weld. Now I'm going to drill the hole for the pop rivet that will attach the mounting plate to the truck. Pushing the pop rivet in, we should now be good to go, and we'll do the same thing on the driver's side, but the rivet that goes in the truck will be on the left side. You can install the motor to the front brackets on the bench or once the bracket is installed on the truck. You want to line the gears up and may have to move the bracket a little bit in order for the motor to fall into place. Now you can insert the 3 screws and tighten those down to 36 inch-pounds. Definitely don't want to over tighten these. Once you have the motor installed, you'll use 3 bolts to attach the bracket to the mounting plate and tighten all those up to 16 foot-pounds. You will, however, have to use a wrench on the bottom right to get it secure. To make sure you have the right motorized bracket for the passenger side, make sure this points to the rear. And then for the non-motorized rear bracket on the passenger side, you'll make sure this is pointed towards the front. To make sure we have the right board for the passenger side, you'll look for the wiring harness. That'll go towards the front. We'll take the T-nuts and line those up as far to the front as we can and insert them into the brackets. Once the board's in place, I measured from the bracket to the end of the board, and it's right about 1.5 inches. Now I'll take the screws and tighten those down to 10 foot-pounds. I went ahead and installed the driver's side boards as well, so we've got all that done. Now it's time to move on to the wiring. So this Ram has 2 batteries. You want to connect all the wiring harness to the driver's side battery. The positive side of the wiring harness is going to connect right here. I went ahead and took all 3 fuses out until we're ready to plug them in, and then I've got the negative side. It's going to connect right here on the battery. I attached the 2 controllers behind the battery to the positive connection with 2 tie wraps. The longer connection for the boards is going to run right down across the cowl, and then it's going to come down this way behind the other battery and go down the fender well. The connection ends up right here. I was able to take a pull stick and run it down, and ends up coming right here. I went ahead and attached the connector to the motor, and then I pressed this red tab to the right, and this connection will be for the board light. For the driver's side connection, it just goes down right here behind the battery, and the driver's side should kind of run the same way. Here it is attached to the motor, and then this connection is for the board. I attached the wiring from the boards to 3 different locations. I've got one right there, and then one up top. The yellow control wire goes right here through the firewall, but luckily it's really easy to get it through. I was able to take my drill and drill a small hole under the driver's side dash, and then the cable, I routed it this way, and it ends up right here. I then took this locking connector and attached the 2 wires. This will go to the OBD II port, and this will connect under the dash. You'll see a green terminal block. I connected it to the first one in line. Moving on to installing the LED lights that shine on the boards. The first light location will go 22 inches from the front of the pinch weld. I used a punch tool and then drilled a 9/32 hole. The next location will be 64 3/4 inches from the front of the pinch weld. Drill another hole, and then you'll want to take some touch-up paint to cover up the bare metal. After the paint dries, you'll install the rubber boot that you'll run the wire through. I had to use some Vaseline to make it easier to run the wire wire through the rubber grommet. Now I'll take an alcohol wipe to clean the surface paint and then press down for a few seconds to attach the LED light to the truck. I've got all the lights wired in. Let's get the fuses, put those in, and make sure the steps work. There's two 30-amp fuses that go on the outer sides, and then there's one 10-amp fuse that goes in the middle. I didn't hear any movement when I put the fuses in, so here comes the true test. And they're working. Let's check the driver's side. The boards move in and out really fast. Let's make sure it works at the back. And it does. One of the biggest things we need to check is to make sure that this wire doesn't get in a bind when we close the door. So let's do that now and make sure it's good. And we've got plenty of room here. This doesn't seem to be in a bind, so we should be good. The steps that were on here before, at the top, were 18 inches. Now these measure right around 14 inches, so it's going to be a little bit easier to step up into the truck. Also, the factory running boards were only 5 inches wide. These are 6 inches wide, and that makes life much easier stepping in. I've checked all the lights. Everything seems to be working. This LED strip down the side is really awesome. Let me get this truck pulled out of the garage and we'll take a better look at them. First off, these have to be the most hidden steps I've ever seen on a truck. When the light's not on, you can barely even tell they're there. I can't believe how far these tuck up under the truck, which makes for a really sleek design and gives you a lot better ground clearance. And then when it's time to climb in the truck, these things deploy really fast, and then the LED strip comes on and it'll fade out once they retract. I want to give you some different angles with these installed. Here's the passenger side, and then we'll go over to the driver's side. And they're just so sleek, it's crazy. You can barely even see them. One of the cool things with these vision steps, they have an app and you can control the running boards with your phone. So once you download that, if I hit deploy and hit continue, it'll drop the steps down. So if you're washing your truck or something like that, you can just bring out your phone and deploy the steps. And then once you're done, you'll hit cancel, continue, and then the boards will retract. You can also turn on the light with the app and change the different colors of when it's retracted and when it's deployed. If we turn the lights on, you'll see that they're an amber color. So if we go into here and then hit the retracted, and we'll just slide it, let's just slide it over to green, and then we'll hit accept, and then accept, and then you'll see them turn to green. And then if you want to change the color of when they're deployed, we'll go to the power step override, hit deploy, continue, and then we'll go back to lights, go to the light strips, and deployed. So we'll just pick another random color. Let's go pink. Hit accept, accept, and then you will see the lights turn pink. Now that it's nighttime, let's see how much light you get on top of the steps. So you see it illuminated right there. And then the bottom LED, I noticed, it will only stay on for a short time, but the top lights stay on the whole time you have the door open. Now when we shut the door, there'll be a slight delay, and then they'll retract, and then the lights will slowly fade out. Now let's see if the LED strip comes on with the remote start system. So we'll hit the lock button and then hit it twice. So it looks like the LED strip does not cut on until you unlock the door. As soon as you do that, the LED strip illuminates. And of course, it'll light up whatever color you decide. Right now, with it retracted, we've got the amber color selected. So when we drop the step down, we'll have the white light selected. We've still got the truck running with just the remote start. When I closed the door, the lights went out. Let me climb in the truck and fully start it to see if the running lights stay on in park. So the light does stay on when you fully crank the truck, but it won't stay on long if you just remote start the truck. I do think that these steps are a great addition to this truck. I love how they match the top and the side mirrors. Everything blends perfectly together. Well, if you're trying to decide between the Amp Power Vision steps or the regular Amp Power steps, I would definitely go this route. Having that big LED strip down the side is an awesome feature to have. I want to thank Real Truck for sending these out for me to install and review for you guys, and I hope it was helpful. Well, I appreciate y'all watching this, and until next time, see y'all.